Welcome to Talk Theory. It's your host, Kiara Barnes, where I talk all things life, what makes us human, and what makes us superhuman. Sit back, relax, and join me for a chat. Welcome back to another episode of Talk Theory. Great news, folks. It's finally over. Okay, SAG-AFTRA has come to an agreement. Yeah. I'm using the sound effects today, okay? It deserves it. All right? They've come to an agreement with the studios, and the strike is over. Oh my gosh. I couldn't be happier. As you can tell, we're using sound effects today. Yeah, guys, it went on far too long, but you know what? It's okay. We got it done. So yeah, I'm just really excited to see that we made it out, and I can't wait to get back to work and to be on set again, but on better terms this time. And yeah, I'm just really, really grateful for my union for sticking it out the way that we did. And yeah, you know, it's a little unfortunate in the sense that a lot of people aren't going to get like your shows and, you know, things until a little bit of next year. But you know what? It'll be better. It'll be way better. You'll be getting people that are actually getting paid what they should be getting paid. And the shows are just going to be so much better for it. So, you know, buckle in. It'll be a sec, but it'll be worth it when you get it. With this news, I felt the topic was fitting. Okay, we're talking about keeping the faith. And I'm sure most of you have heard this expression, but if not, what I always interpreted it as, and personally, is even in adversity, or even when things seem, keyword seem, not to be going really as planned, you still believe that you will make it on the other side for the better. Make it out on the other side for the better. That all is well, and you have protection around you and guiding you. Okay. Pre-warning. Okay. We are going to get into the territory of God, universe, source, whatever you want to call it. And personally, they're all interchangeable for me. So I'll be using all of these, you know, names during the episode. But whatever you believe in, that's fine. And if you don't believe in anything, that's okay too. You're still welcome to stay and listen. And I just want to say too, because I feel like sometimes when the word God or the topic of believing specifically in something other than ourselves, people can kind of feel like, ooh, because there's a lot of, you know, trauma within religion and beliefs and all these things. But this is more of just like a discussion of personally where I'm at with it and how I've been affected. So yeah, just want to say that before we get into it. This is not like a, you know, you need to do this at all. But personally, I do believe in something that's bigger than me, some kind of energy, power source. Just that there's something outside of me that is energetically able to create something out of nothing. And a lot of these things that I can't explain on my own. You know, I've had many of my own experiences to know that it's not just me out here floating. So personally, I do consider myself spiritual. And if you've been a listener for a while, you know that, because I've mentioned this a few times throughout the show, but I grew up Mormon. And it's interesting being part of a religion because there's a lot of prerequisites, it seems, to be able to kind of communicate with God. You have to like dress a particular way, you have to speak a particular way, you have to look a particular way, you can't sin, and if you do, you must repent. Now, obviously, there's things like harming other people, which is just past sinning. It's like just straight up illegal when you're doing things out of malicious intent to harm someone. But I'm more talking about things like, oh, you can't drink caffeine, or you can't wear clothes that show your shoulders or your kneecaps, or you can't have tattoos, et cetera, okay? These are all just a few of the things that I grew up with in the church, but there's a lot more that I learned is involved once you get further in, okay? Which is all a whole nother thing to get into. But what I'm really trying to make a point at is how there always seems to be some kind of like checkpoints that you have to complete in order to get access to God. And this isn't even just with the Mormon church. It's really all religions and churches have their set things that they teach and practice where it's like, oh, you do this and you get access to God. And some more intense than others, but nonetheless, there's these set guidelines. Needless to say, when I left the church, I was very confused on what was real and what I just personally identified with. And it wasn't until I did my own soul searching and experimenting with other churches and read spiritual books that I found what made the most sense to me. Which again, I want to point out that if you are a part of a religion and that works for you, that's fine and great. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just my way of living is most certainly not, the way for everyone. It's definitely not the chosen one way. There's many paths out there, and you've got to do that own introspection to decide on which really works best for you in your life. But this is how I personally got to where I am right now. And it's interesting because faith and belief can definitely work together, but they also have their own defining reasons for being in their own lane. Faith is usually more emotional based and it involves more trust and connection, whereas belief is more so intellectually oriented, relying on evidence and reasoning. And of course, there's like nuance between the both of them, and they can definitely intertwine a lot. And faith may involve certain beliefs, and beliefs may influence the strength of one's faith. Okay, so depending on how you see things, there are a few ways you can experience or come to develop faith or beliefs. Also, they're able to change. You can change the way that you see things and what you believe in. For me, I used to believe dressing a particular way or speaking a particular way was the only way that you could be kept, and living a certain particular way is the only way that you could be kept sacred and to keep a line of communication when it came to God. Otherwise, I'd fear, oh, like, I might get cut off by God. Well, since then, I no longer believe that. I believe that God or source is all loving, that there's no need to put the fear of anything into anyone, that, we're created with love and by love, and therefore will always be supported and cared for. There's no initiation process or secret thing that you have to do or memorize, or that you only get access to because you're part of an organization. Okay? My belief It's God is free. It's free 99, and you can get a hold of God or the universe at any time because it's infinite. There is no waiting time. It's all happening right now. Creation and creator is all now. And for me, coming to this realization on my own was the biggest relief. Even and look, even within the spiritual realm, there's folks out there claiming, "Oh, you have to do this and you have to meditate like this or you have to do this specific kind of meditation or these specific affirmations or you have to live your life this way in order to keep your connection strong." But here's my thing. As soon as I hear folks saying you have to do something and there's only one way or this is the true and only way, I'm getting red flags, okay? Only you truly know what's the best way to connect to that energy. Sometimes it is meditating. Sometimes it's praying. Sometimes it's singing. Sometimes it's listening to, a favorite song. And I'm not even talking like spiritual church songs, but it could be something where the lyrics just really resonate with you in a different way that gets you in the zone. Sometimes it's writing. There's so many different ways that you can feel connected to life source that's not just one way. Even movies, there could be something that someone created that really just resonates with you and made you feel seen and connected. Some days meditation is the thing that helps me most. Others, it's maybe meditation and praying combined, or even speaking out loud because it feels good. For me, it feels good to hear myself just express. And I know that I might look a little, out there if folks were watching, but ultimately it doesn't matter. When you're connected, you're connected. And I don't think anyone on this planet has not had a moment where you couldn't truly explain why it happened. I think we've all had a point in time in our life where something happened that was just straight up unexplainable. Either something happened so perfectly, so seamlessly, it didn't make sense, or you got an opportunity that you never thought was possible, or you were helped in a very real way because the right person was there at the right time, or you just got this thought to know what to do suddenly. Things that are just inexplainable alone, but only explainable with and by God. And I think there's also layers to faith. To have faith in something, you also have to have faith in yourself, right? It takes two to tango kind of thing. So just because for me, you're like the vessel to moving things forward through action and choices. It's important to have a level of self-belief, resilience, and overall just trust in your own abilities when you face challenges. So if we're speaking in the context of manifesting or receiving a desire, that's all a co-creation process, right? You have a vision or a desire of something, you ask for it to receive it. But in the process of asking, you are given inspired action. And that leads you to that desired outcome, whether it be a random idea or the feeling to go on a walk or to watch an old movie that you really love or call a friend. You may think it's seemingly nothing, but in reality, it has all to do with what you asked for and is leading you to that. And having a strong belief system when you get these inclinations, you won't think twice about it. You'll just move in that direction because you know that you're being guided and you know that you're on the right path. And some of you may be with me by at this point, but want to know, okay, got it, but how can how can you just strengthen this part, right? And it's everything I mentioned before with the meditation, the journaling, the reading, the praying. The more time you can have with yourself and your thoughts to connect and ask questions, the more you can be more sure and strengthen all of that. Literally the other day, I was in meditation, begun a prayer, just asking for a clear and direct kind of sign to specifically help me just strengthen my faith and my connection so that I know for sure my line of communication is dependable. And I just did that, then went about my day and just focused on staying in the moment with my feelings and body. So, side tangent, I've been getting into this Alexander technique a little more. And if you never heard of it, it's essentially just focuses on you having more heightened awareness with your movements, breathing, and how you hold your body, specifically how a lot of our emotions and things are stored in our neck, and how to, if we can maintain the ability to keep that relaxed, that we can really connect to the rest of our body in a deeper way. And so I've been focusing in on that more than anything else. So I was doing that and just going about my day, basically just continuing to check in with my body, really just focusing on that. And then boom, wouldn't you know, my sign came in, and it wasn't what I thought, but it came and it was actually perfect. And the relief that I felt and just sense of security and safety, and it just gave me this reassurance I needed to continue on in confidence and peace rather than worry. It was so nice. And here's my thing with all of this, okay? It doesn't hurt to try. I've said it before, but even if you don't necessarily believe in meditation or journaling or prayer, it doesn't hurt to try. If look, if nothing happens, all right, nothing happens. No loss. If anything, your body benefited from a few deeper breaths, like just even on a scientific level, giving your body more oxygen and the time and patience of breath work and sitting with your thoughts and journaling. This is all just mentally, like on a scientific level, beneficial for you and the body. Okay, so, that's fine. And I feel like if it's not putting you in harm's way or anyone around you and it's benefiting to your well-being, it doesn't hurt to give it a shot, right? And personally, when the downs happen, that's really when I feel like all of this stuff is beneficial, and having some kind of faith already built up and ready for anything really is so helpful. I think without having some belief that God was helping me or source, I would just feel out of sorts, and just having this belief that I'm being guided, it's helpful. And I've seen it time in and time again that having this ability to have something to lean back on, it's calming. It's self-soothing enough that I can de-escalate a situation or at least figure out a way through. Because when something unplanned happens, I think it's very natural to sort of panic and feel out of our depth. But I instantly feel relief when I know that I'm not alone, that I don't have to take down a situation by myself. Now, of course, there's been times where my faith was running a little low, okay? And so, I reacted according to the state that I was in. And honestly, it did nothing for me in the sense that it didn't lessen the severity of the situation. It didn't change what was happening. I just felt worse and more anxious versus, having the natural response. identifying that, okay, yeah, this sucks and it doesn't feel good. And because that's another thing. This isn't about like, oh, throwing an affirmation on top of like a stressful moment. No, like, if something's stressful, allow your body to identify that. And whether that be physically or emotionally through like crying or verbalizing that, oh, this thing is happening and I'm having a reaction to it that's upsetting, definitely do that instead of holding it in, because when you hold, it all has to come out at some point anyway. So might as well get it done from the start, right? So identifying that, it doesn't feel good, and then being able to move into, I need some help. And I'm going into either a prayer or meditation for guidance, or I'm going to write out my thoughts to help me get my bearings. And then I can go from there. And sometimes I need to come back multiple times in a day with a prayer or a meditation because I need that extra help. And that's just what works best for me. And at the end of the day, also remembering that nothing lasts forever. Even if you're faced with a moment or time in your life where it's not going as planned, you can definitely trust that time continues on and you will not be stuck in the exact same space or point of your life forever. Things change, as do the seasons, okay? And let me tell you, when you make it out of some kind of adversity and you still have yourself intact and can even thank yourself for being there and loving you enough to give yourself different outlets and avenues to process and to feel supported, you feel unstoppable. You feel like you've leveled up, and it's such an amazing feeling. Also, you just garner a deeper connection with humans and the people around you. I think, oh my gosh, sorry, I need some water. I think when you recognize the strength in yourself, it's easier to admire it in the people around you. And of course, the more you see that and value that, you can't help but build relationships that are much deeper and meaningful. Over these past few years specifically, I've really gained perspective of gratitude towards my family and how much my family does mean to me. And also, I think as I get older, I just recognize that not everyone has families that they are super close to. And I think it's a blessing how close I am with my family and how much we all care for one another. With that, I've been, even because of just recognizing how important connection is to me, I've been a lot more specific about chosen family, as in the company that I keep, whether it's friendships or relationships that I maintain. I've learned that not everyone is for me, and that's okay. But I like to surround myself around people that are supportive and loving and caring and want to grow. It's not so much about everyone being the exact same or believing in the same thing. It's more so about like genuine connection and priorities. You know, I used to be in a different space where going out all the time was the priority. Socializing was the priority because I just didn't have much else going on, really, and now as I get older, there's just a lot of things that I'm in preparation for, whether it is to find my life partner and build a family with, and my career and all of that. I just want to be around, people that are within that same mindset, because it just keeps you inspired, really, and balanced. And I'm just also really interested in being as present as possible as of late. And it's nice to have a community around you that also wants to explore life and have interesting talks and travel and just experience more. And I don't know, it implements a lot more gratitude in everyday life. And I feel it's not lost on any of us how just like the smallest amount of appreciation or gratitude can go such a long way, whether it be in a darker moment to give some light at the end of the tunnel or to amplify a really good moment. Gratitude is really what gives us perspective and brings us joy throughout the journey so that it's not as, I don't know, tiresome. Yeah, okay, folks. That's all I have for you today. It was a little more introspective, but I was really feeling it this week. It was on my mind, and that's how I usually like to go about these shows. Okay, let's get into the theory of the week. Keeping the faith is not about having all the answers. It's about embracing the questions with an open heart. I think that's quite sweet, quite nice. All right, thanks again for listening. Thank you for supporting. Remember to subscribe as we have new episodes out every Monday. And be sure to share with friends and family. We got tons of episodes with all different topics that are geared to help people feel better and get through this week. Spread a little more love into the world. Yeah, that's all. Okay, I shall see you next week. Okay, love you. Bye.